Warning. Viewer discretion is advised. This video contains topics related to substance abuse and self-harm. It may be triggering for some viewers.
My name is Amelia. My father was born in Holland. My mother is Australian. She was born in Australia. I'm the youngest of 4 children, and I was born at Blackett Hospital, but I grew up in Mount Druitt area at Whelen. And as a child, for me, I thought everything was normal and happy, but Mum and Dad's marriage was not good at all. They broke up when I was 11, and my dad went one way, Mum went the other with my 2 brothers and my sister, and I was sent to my aunties to live till I was 14. It was quite confusing because we weren't told that Mum and Dad were breaking up. And we were told that we were going to be going on a road trip and to Northern Territory and we were going to live there. That we moved out of our house at Whelen, that Mum and Dad had lost the house, they were buying it. And my mum went to a friend's house and my dad went and got a caravan at a caravan park. My brothers went with my dad to the caravan, and my sister went with my mum to the friend's flat, and I was sent to my auntie's. And it was very scary. It was so emotional for me. I felt abandoned, so badly abandoned that there was something wrong with me. I lived with my auntie Pat for 3 years until I was 14, and then the only reason why I went back to my mum is because my auntie said that she can't do it anymore. She's doing night shift and it's not safe. I thought that she just didn't want me around. Another one that didn't want me around, that there was something wrong with me. I tried to do everything that I thought they wanted me to do. I didn't have to try to love them. I loved them. I adored them, and I tried to show it, but I believe it annoyed them, and they didn't like it. Annoyed, I believe that it irritated them, and I was just one of those children that people just can't click with. I've heard people say before, there's just something about that child that just drives me crazy. I don't like that child. And I believe that my family, I don't know if it's true or not, but I believe that that's what they felt of me. It was really hard because I was very young-minded. I was never taught about growing up, ever. I was always the baby of the family. I was never taught how to do any life skills. I wasn't taught how you become a woman. I was not taught anything like that. And going to mum's, I was like at 14 still playing with my dolls, reading fantasy books like Disney fantasy books, and my dolls were my everything. I used to believe that my dolls were alive, and when I would leave the room, they would start talking and move around the room, but they would quickly get back to being dolls when they would hear me coming. And when I went back with Mum, not that there was structure before, but there was absolutely no structure, no boundaries, no guidelines. There was nothing, no rules. I just had to figure everything out for myself. Even with boyfriends, the only thing I knew about boyfriends is that I couldn't have a boyfriend because my brothers and my dad would get angry. I never understood why, what happened between boyfriends and girlfriends. I was 14, I should have known all of this. and I knew nothing. I started idolising my eldest brother, and I learned about marijuana through my brother, and I would sneak around to follow him and just to see what he was doing, just to be a part of something. Like I wanted him to love me. I wanted to belong. I really, really, really wanted to belong so badly. And my brother, at that stage, he got sick of me tagging along. He was 19, nearly 20 now, so I hung off my sister. I started learning through my sister, watching her and her friends. And then I've realised, like I had feelings about boys, but I didn't know what they were. I couldn't understand them. And then my sister would explain little things to me by telling me off about it, but I learnt that way. And at 15, I got my first boyfriend. Then my father died about 8 months later, and life just went to crap when my dad died. My dad and I, we were so close. I know that it was the best and the closest relationship I've ever had was with my dad. Out of everyone in my whole life, my dad. And he was my everything. I loved him so much, and yeah, losing him was the hardest thing that I'd ever gone through. And everything just went downhill. Even though there was no structure and no boundaries, no nothing, when Dad died, it was even worse. And then I thought, like, once Dad died, I thought, well, I'm not wanted around. I'm not loved. My brothers and my sister were always annoyed and irritated with me. When Mum found out that she was pregnant with me, she was a bit further along, and she said that, I said, oh, like, were you happy? And it was always, no, we didn't want to have another child, but I was too far along to terminate the pregnancy. And she goes, but it doesn't mean that I don't love you. But as a child, like, I can remember being told that from 6 and 7 years old, and I already knew the story at that age. That's so painful, so confusing. It's painful. It tore me to pieces, and I was always thinking, not good enough, no one wants me. And I believe it stemmed from that story. So I think the not belonging and the not fitting in stemmed from that, and it just progressed so greatly over the years. I started smoking a lot of pot, a lot. When my dad died, I took a whole heap of different medications that were around the house, and I just wanted to end all the pain. And I took a heck of a lot, but not enough to, thank gosh, to kill myself. But I remember that I was stoned for days and days from it, and I was like drifting in and out, in and out. And I thought, well, okay, if I keep doing this, I don't have to think about anything, I'm just sleeping. And so I started smoking pot so much. People were pointing out the things that I was doing, and they were saying how they didn't like it, and I didn't know how to deal with that. I didn't know how to deal with emotions and sadness and pain, and I knew that I had to stop. And as sad as it sounds, I loved the attention. They were paying attention to me. They were worrying about me. It felt like they loved me, because if they didn't love me, why would they be telling me that I need to stop? So it made me get worse. And not on them, like, that's me, but because they were showing me that, it's like, oh, okay, you're showing me affection, that must mean you love me. If I do this more, you're going to come to me more, you're going to wrap your arms around me more. And I got worse. Started getting to heavier drugs, different drugs, doing things that I severely regretted, all because I thought, I knew that would make them come to me and go, what are you doing this for? We love you, we want the best for you. And I'd do such bad, silly things just so I could hear those words, just for 1 or 2 minutes of hearing those words each time a loved one said that to me. Just after 17, I got my own place because I fell pregnant and had a child. I started smoking more and more pot, taking more and more speed. I fell pregnant again, had my second child at 18, and I stopped the drugs with my second pregnancy. After he was born, went straight back into doing the drugs again, and we were still living at our own place, like a housing commission place. And I fell pregnant again a couple of months after having my second child. So I was on my third pregnancy at 18, and I didn't stop the drugs. And I had a condition called placenta previa. They knew that I was doing drugs, they could tell, and I was told that I had to stop the speed because speed gets my blood going, makes me more active, which will cause me to bleed. And I didn't listen. I slowed right down, but thought, a little bit, won't mind, you know. And then it started getting a lot worse with the placenta previa at about 3.5 months pregnant. And I ended up losing the baby. I gave birth to him at 21.5 weeks, which is 4.5 months. And yeah, I lost him, my little Jeremy. I was grieving for my baby, but I was grieving for not understanding. I was grieving the loss more at that time, more than I was actually grieving for him. And I didn't understand why I was going through all this pain, even though I contributed to it by taking the drugs. I still went into that thing of why me? Why has this happened to me? And I just fell inside myself so much. I locked myself away. I wouldn't go out. I couldn't handle reality. I stopped with the speed, and I started smoking pot so vigorously, because it would put me to sleep, and in my sleep, my dreams were more, I could handle my dreams more than reality. I was not doing well. The rent got paid and the bills got paid, but the house was always a mess. The laundry was always full of dirty clothes. The kids weren't looked after the way that they were meant to be looked after. And my partner, the father of my boys, he come home from work one day and he brought heroin home. Honestly, I thought if I take it, it's just going to put me to sleep, so I don't have to deal with it. I decided to have it. We smoked it, and yeah, I smoked it for a little while, and I didn't like it. In a matter of 5 minutes, I could have so many different thoughts and emotions, like, this is wrong, no, this is right, this feels good, no, this feels terrible, look what's happened to you before, look what you've lost, but look what you're going to gain if you do it. I had all these voices in my head, all different opinions, like just running through my head all the time. And honestly, I needed them to shut up. I just needed them to shut the hell up because it was driving me insane. Then it just all came crashing down. Couldn't afford to buy all these drugs. And then reality really hit then. Everyone left. No one wanted to be around. He left as well. I was by myself with 2 little children. My mum, my brother took my boys. I'd lost everything and I was alone, worthless, useless drug addict. And yeah, I'd hit rock bottom hard. From where I thought I was so high to just bang, straight down. And I hit the ground hard. My rock bottom was a big punch in the face. It hurt a lot. Reality kicked in, the realisation of, to the best of what I could at that time, of everything that was now gone and I can't get it back. And yeah, it was absolutely terrible. Just again, the realisation of everything that I had thrown away, not just lost, I threw it away. I gave up. There's no other way to put it. And yeah, I lost my house, I had nothing. And that was my first taste of homelessness. I found myself living out of a tiny little Hessian school backpack with just a couple of bits of clothing in it and living on the streets. I didn't know what to expect. It was cold and scary and miserable and so much pain, like emotional pain. I'd have to find bits of rubbish like plastic so I could stick it up or use something to stick it up on the wall against like a wall at a canteen at the football fields and make it like a little tent kind of thing, and I'd sleep under it on the concrete. And I still remember just how bitterly cold it was and uncomfortable. The ground underneath me was like, I remember thinking and feeling it all the time. It felt like death. I was laying there on death. It was just so cold and miserable and painful, and it was sad. I was very fearful, I was very scared. I could barely sleep. When I did sleep, the slightest little noise would wake me up. I was scared someone was going to do something to me, someone was going to take me, I was going to get murdered, they were going to rape me, they were going to torture me. And then I had to start thinking of, well, I can't be sleeping out in the open, like what am I going to do? And I didn't have friends that I could go at that time, could go and stay with. So I would end up going to doctor's surgeries that were houses and sleep on their back veranda. And then I would meet a few people that were homeless as well, and a few people, old drug associates, and started couch surfing on people's lounges. And the very few times that someone was willing to help me and say, look, you can stay here, eat all you want, I'm going to help you as much as I can. I was so fearful of that. I didn't know what it was going to entail. And the next was, if I accept the help, I'm going to get better. I'll get my children back, I'll get my family back, and I'm just going to destroy it all over again. I was so fearful that I was going to destroy everything again, and I was going to hurt everyone again. I have, for as long as I can remember, I've always pushed people away so I can't get too close. So if I destroy it, or if something happens to them, I'm not going to feel the pain of losing them. Things got a lot worse actually. I started instead of just being on one drug, I started just cocktailing everything. I would end up going and doing things that would put me in jail for the night, and then it progressed from that to doing a jail sentence. From about 20 to 24 was when I really betrayed myself, betrayed my thoughts, my morals, my feelings, and everyone else, because I just didn't give a shit. Excuse my language. I didn't care.
In part 2, Amelia shares about how she rose up out of rock bottom and the changes she now enjoys in her life. If you or someone you know is affected by substance abuse or self-harm, these organizations can offer some help.